Look, before anybody starts freaking out and saying that I'm complaining about not getting Mario games, it's just not the case. We have gotten so much Mario. Yes, Nintendo has not forgotten about Mario. Okay, all right. And of course, with this recent Nintendo Direct, it really is evident that Mario is getting pretty much all of its games put on the Nintendo Switch, which is just truly amazing. I mean, seriously, Mario RPG getting a remake, Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door getting a remake, tons of sports games and spin-offs. Crying out loud, we got the original Mario vs. Donkey Kong released on the Game Boy Advance getting a remake for the Nintendo Switch. I mean, truly, all Mario factors are getting touched here. Kind of. Now, there technically are still some other Mario titles that we've been waiting for a very long time, like maybe another Mario Sports with Mario Baseball, or maybe even Mario Basketball we really haven't seen. And then the only other possible thing I can think of is Mario and Luigi, and we don't know what's going on with that series thanks to Alpha Dream going bankrupt. We really don't know if they're ever going to make another Mario and Luigi game again. That talk is for a separate video. With those games aside, every single Mario game you could ever need and want is here on the Nintendo Switch. Except for one. Lots of you guys can probably recall 2020, which was a year of a lot of issues, especially with the virus going around. There weren't many games to talk about or play, and Nintendo was in a very weird state with how they announced things and released games as well. But there was one thing that we were all getting our hopes for based on the rumors, and they came true, being Super Mario 3D All-Stars, which gave us versions of 64's Sunshine and Galaxy, even though they were very lazily put together. But a lot of people were wondering, okay, where the heck is Super Mario Galaxy 2? It is a 3D All-Star after all. Now, keep in mind, during this same show, they also revealed Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury. So, yeah, they pretty much missed the only 3D Mario game being Mario Galaxy 2. We all took a deep breath and said, okay, surely this game just wasn't ready for release, but Mario Galaxy 2 will be added later on, or maybe even we'll have to pay for it or something. But, you know, there's no way Nintendo leaves out a whole 3D Mario game out of a Super Mario 3D collection. Guess what? It's 3 years later. They didn't add it. Once again, I had to state this again because I know someone out there is going to say, you're just so ungrateful. Look at all the Mario. And I'm like, look, that's great. Awesome. Okay, I love the Thousand Year Door. Trust me, I'm just as excited as you guys. But at the same time, Mario Galaxy 2 still being left off the Switch and potentially with the new console coming very soon, not being on the Switch at all, is utterly insane. Think about it, you can pretty much boot up your Nintendo Switch and play any Mario game in the entire franchise, especially the mainline games. Let's just focus on that. Like literally all the mainline games you can play on the Switch. You literally have to boot up the Nintendo Wii or your Wii U in order to play Super Mario Galaxy 2 right now. It's a game that's not one but 2 gens behind and soon will be 3 generations behind. Like, it's sad. It's just still insane when you consider that there's a pack called Super Mario 3D All-Stars and it's missing potentially the last 3D Mario game. Now, okay, technically there's like 2 others. You have Mario 3D Land on the 3DS and also the remake or kind of remade version of Mario 64 for the DS. But let's just stop and talk about a potential another 3D All-Stars. Could it happen again? Probably not, because I don't think Nintendo really cares about Mario 64 DS all that much. If they did, they would just, you know, added it as an option within the first 3D All-Stars, since it is essentially the same exact game with new characters and a couple of new stages. But Mario 3D Land also is a very incredibly small 3D Mario game. It's still a lot of fun, and I enjoy it to this day, but at the same time, I don't see Nintendo having that urgency to pump that game to the Switch, especially considering the fact that it utilizes the 3D depth slider with some of the levels. Well, once again, you didn't need it. You know, it's definitely not needed at all, but it was kind of a function of the 3DS. It felt more like kind of a prototype game to show how the 3D function would work with the 3DS, which was really cool. So I think that one might just be staying on that console, but at the same time, if those games aren't coming to the Switch, then we're not going to have a collection pack, which means Mario Galaxy 2 is still going to be left out, unless Nintendo decides to later still add it to Super Mario 3D All-Stars, which I just don't see being the case, especially considering the fact that you can't buy the game anymore. Shoot, that means Super Mario Galaxy 2 is going to be right up there with it. And this is just for the case. Used! And I know a lot of people are sometimes confused as to why some of these remakes are even happening in the first place, like who asked for Mario vs. Donkey Kong? I absolutely love this game, and it just felt like it was one of those announcements catered to me and to me only, but at the same time, you gotta see why Nintendo was doing this. Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door is not only just a cult classic and an incredible Paper Mario game that fans love, but it's also a game that's pretty much impossible to get your hands on unless you want to dish over a large lump sum of money. And that's why it feels like we're getting like every single Mario game ever. Nintendo wants them to be accessible now on their modern console, which just makes a lot of sense until you realize that not only are they missing a Mario game, but it's a mainline 3D Mario game, a sequel to one of the greatest Mario games of all time. If you ask me, I think Mario Galaxy 2 is even better than Super Mario Galaxy, because I think it takes everything from the first game and just enhances it. It makes the game look a little better, it adds brand new items and really cool galaxies and great new mechanics. Honestly, it's just a little bit of an update from Mario Galaxy 1, which is just absurd to me that they felt like they didn't need to add this game. And honestly, I think the game itself is even very underrated. I feel like there's just not a lot about the game online. You don't even hear a lot about this game. I mean, seriously, even if you go to look up artwork for the game, it's just like pictures from like a official artwork book that was screenshot with a phone camera and slapped onto Google. Like, you can't even find PNGs of characters and like even the main characters. Look at Bowser. It got so bad, people were actually putting mods in Super Mario Odyssey to play specific levels in Mario Galaxy 2. Like, literally, there's a mod pack out there right now that you can play the first couple of levels of Mario Galaxy 2. It looks beautiful because it's just the engine of Odyssey, but like, Nintendo, please. Now, there still is a chance. Maybe they're saving it for one of like the last releases before moving on to the new console. I mean, look at next year. It's literally like port and remake crazy. I mean, literally the end of this year and into next year. You have Mario RPG coming out. You have Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, Mario vs. Donkey Kong, Luigi's Mansion 2 is coming out once again. That's just what we know of. There's still rumors of other ports coming, like Wind Waker and Twilight Princess and Metroid Primes 2 and 3 and F-Zero GX. And like, what's stopping them from saying, okay, let's just throw Galaxy 2 in the mix as well before the next console? But I will say this right now, if the rumors are anything to be believed, there apparently is going to be a big open world 3D Mario launch title coming for the next console around the holiday season of next year. And if that does happen, I just don't see Galaxy 2 happening at least anytime soon. It might be something that we're still talking about 3, 4, 5, maybe even 7 years from now, which is just sad if we're still waiting on a game that came out on 3 consoles prior. Like, it's just, yeah, it's a 3D Mario game. Like, how? Look, you never know. Nintendo could always surprise us. It is still kind of insane that we haven't seen it yet, but there's still a chance that Mario Galaxy 2 will see the light of day on a modern console. We just need to make it known that we really want to see it. So where's Mario Galaxy 2, Nintendo? Come on! The Switch is almost done, but this game is the last Mario game I think anyone is waiting for. You know what? Nah. Later for Galaxy. This is what we waiting on.